Yes, we're going to pause for a very special event. So would you allow me to take just a little time to introduce this event to you? It's relevant very much to what Deborah has just said about UNICEF, because today here in St Michael's we're celebrating the United Nations Day, October, and with a special emphasis on UNICEF, the Nobel Prize-winning United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, created by the United Nations General Assembly back in 1946 to provide health care to children in countries which have been devastated by World War II and other local incidents. UNICEF's program provides community-level services to promote the health and well-being of children. It also has a bearing on our own programs here for children. Just this last week, our Big Tent program that is being conducted to look after young children in kindergartens who have been traumatised already in their life. And I was assured of a cheque for $40,000 this week to add to the fund that is growing for our program for the Big Tent project. This project and its forebears in terms of the KFOG program for children, the kindergarten field officers group that I've run for the last 25 years and more, touched the very heart of one of our very elderly and senior members of this church, Ida Summers. She's been a part of this church for a long time. Regrettably, she can't be here today because of illness, but she sends her good wishes to us today. You know, for some years, she has taken a little bit of her pension money and set it aside and then given it to me to be placed in the KFOG fund with the words, "Here is some money to help those little folk." So Ida Summers, year by year, has been giving that money, and we've gathered it together, and most surely we have been focusing towards helping little children who have been so badly damaged, but sometimes by their parents, sometimes by war, sometimes by society and people generally. Today we're wanting to honour Ida Summers further. We've called this moment the Ida Summers Award, to honour a person who has been deeply involved in a different area from the KFOG and Big Tent area, a different area of caring for children. And it links in very much with the UNICEF Day as well. I'm referring, as some of you would know, to Katherine McKean, a member of our own congregation. She, for many years, has been doing such extraordinary work to help young children. Way back in the 1980s, she was in New Guinea teaching music to local school children. Then later, as an elder within the Turak Church, she ran a youth group for children with Down's syndrome. Around the same time, she became a volunteer in the very, very special kids program out in Malvern. And, of course, its programs reach far and wide. Then she became a volunteer with the Australian Business Volunteers, and in order to undertake a project with Hagar International in Cambodia, where they run a refuge for abused women and children, rescuing them from the violence that is so often part of their life. And then she's been very much part of helping little people from Iraq. In fact, we've welcomed Emmanuel here to this place. And from New Guinea, we have Emma here as well, that Katherine and her husband Jeff have fostered over a period of time. She came for a short time. She stayed here 6 years and has been enormously helped by the two people Katherine and Jeff. So all through and through, as if that's not enough, she's done some work also in Honiara. I think she was part of the business of setting up a program there to make ice cream for the kids and people in Honiara, and many other issues involving the way they will eat and have good food. Yes, Frangipani Ice was one of her important tasks or important achievements. Along with all this, she has been very much involved in her own consulting business in the food industry, and has had, in addition to that, has had her own very serious health problems to deal with. So all that's taken on board, and we felt it was the right time and the right person to honour today with the Ida Summers Award. And Deborah might bring that award to me now. Here this plaque states, St Michael's Church, Melbourne, the Ida Summers Award for outstanding care and concern for the well-being of children in the aftermath of trauma and loss. This award is presented to Katherine McKean Clark on this day in October 2012. And there is the plaque for you all to see. And here is the person who will be the recipient. Come on. I know you're going to say something, but before you do, let me say what an enormous honour it is for me, for all of us, to present this award to you. And we really congratulate you on the extraordinary work you've done. I think before, are you going to make a long speech? No? So perhaps Jeff and Emma might come out here and be with us as well. Would that be all right? Yes, they go. You can take it off. That's good. There's Emma and Jeff's husband and this family. I did omit to mention that you had a great deal to do with what's her name? Kelly. Maura Kelly, as program as well, bringing children to this country for surgery to help them recover from their various injuries. So it's been a great program, and you've done a tremendous piece of work. Don't go away, you two. Just you go and say a few words at this point.
All right. Well, I really just want to say thank you. And to acknowledge Ida Summers. I personally don't know her, but from the description of her good acts over the years, she's obviously a very special person. 23 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and in Dr. Macnab's address on cancer last week, the one thing that he didn't tell you was that in the midst of all the anxiety that he so accurately described, that there are a lot of deals done. They're mostly the get-out-of-jail deals. If I can just be cured of this, I'll never smoke again. If this could just not be a melanoma, I'll never sunbathe again. And for me, it was a point at which I thought, if I could just have a few more years, I'd make sure that I used them really well, that I did something beyond my profession and earning a living. And so I signed up as a volunteer with Very Special Kids, and the rest of it followed foster care. So 47 children later, it's been a fairly busy couple of decades in our home. And people always say to me, I don't know how you do it. And I'm quick to point out that I am just human. not a saint. Sometimes I feel it's a bit much too. Sometimes it does seem as though the sacrifices are a few too many. But I've always had two secret ingredients. And the first is Jeff, because whilst it might have been my idea, without his support and cooperation, it couldn't have happened. And the second is that I've always been fueled by compassion, and it gives you tremendous energy and commitment to things. And it's actually an incredibly compelling emotion. It's almost impossible to resist. When you turn your back and walk away, it yells at you to come back. When you say no to something, it challenges your conscience about, do you really think you're your brother's keeper? Are you really walking the talk? And I know when Emo came into our lives 6 years ago, it was a no-brainer when she needed a home. I think compassion just takes over your heart runs amok really. And so to that extent, it's all been easy. I think the other thing is that every volunteer will tell you that you always get more than you give. And these children have taught me so much about resilience, about the ability to bounce back from the most horrible situations and go on to lead good lives. They've for sure been the best antidote to any self-pity or depression. When I've had health setbacks, one look at them and I think I have nothing to worry about. And I think the other thing they've taught me about is living in the moment. And I know it's a bit of a New Age cliche, but it really is valuable. And I've never heard any children in our house talking about their past or their future. All I have ever heard is, can we take our bikes to the park now? Will you take me to the wave pool now? Could I put a DVD on now? And of course it's all about now and it's all about them, but they have to be forgiven for that because they're in that blissful state where they think the whole world revolves around them. But now that I'm dealing with metastatic disease and a less certain future, I'm taking my example from them, and I have to say I'm finding it's a little harder than they make it look. But again, I just want to say thank you. There's been so many rewards in it for me, but recognition is wonderful, and I think all we ever want to do is feel that our lives have been spent in some useful way. So thank you very much.
I think a speech like that is worth 20 sermons, don't you? And as I prepare to give the sermon for today, I can tell you I feel very inadequate, so I crave your indulgence. But, Katherine, we honour you.